Good morning, everybody. Back for another episode of Coffee with Coach O on a Monday morning. Coach O,
Morning.
Kevin Naro, as always. We're not actually in the Bloodhound Cafe, but we are live in the Student Center. Another asynchronous day here at school, so we decided to throw the show here in the Student Center. The freshman team, JV, they're practicing right behind us. I think that's a pretty cool added deal. So live practice, live show. Coach, happy Monday morning to you.
Happy Monday morning.
The weekend certainly went by quick. It was a long week for the Lady Bloodhounds and just athletics all in a whole. Coach, we'll start from the top. You know, this week the Lady Bloodhounds. Today is a match day for the freshman girls. They'll be going down to Los Fresnos to take on the freshman team there. Tomorrow is a match day for the junior varsity and the varsity with a big match in Los Fresnos. That's the first ever matchup, from my understanding, on the
Yes.
varsity side of things. Wednesday, the junior high, they will be here against Our Lady of Sorrows. That's always a fun one when the 7th and 8th graders meet up with them. And then the big one Saturday, that is the district opener, and we
Yes.
go to San Antonio Christian. So it's a jam-packed week full of volleyball for Coach O at all levels, right? Recapping the week that was, Coach, let's backtrack over to Tuesday when we welcomed in Harlingen here into the Student Center. And it's just been a part of this. We called it the gauntlet part of the schedule. And how did you feel the ladies fared on Tuesday?
Um, I think in that first set, I think we were right there, and I thought, okay, well, this is good. We did a lot of good stuff. We did some of the really basic stuff that we made errors on that is what hurt us, I think, the most. We were right there. I think the score was 22-25. So, I said, 3 missed serves, 5 missed serves. That tells you
Right.
you should have won that set. But, they had some big girls. They had some big guns.
Yes.
And I hadn't seen Harlingen at all. I knew that they won the Sherryland tournament, I believe. I think they
Yes.
beat San Benito.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I said, okay, well, that gives me a little bit of an idea what we're up against. I thought we kind of matched up, that first set with some of the hitters, but I think they just kind of like, put a little pinprick in that balloon that just kind of slowly deflated as the match went on, because we just didn't do well the second or third sets. But not that I expected to lose. I didn't. I never do. I'm always with the mindset that if everything goes right for us, the pass, the set, the hits, and we should be able to beat anybody. I think there was just a little bit of. I think the letdown was what hurt us the most, after that first set. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
it was tough.
Yeah, I was talking with some of their coaches afters, and they were impressed with the kids that we have, and one player that stood out to me was Anissa Joseph, number 6. She had a lot of kills, and I think afterwards I told you, I said she wasn't there last year, and I go, no, she wasn't.
No.
She kind of just came out of nowhere, and she was one of those girls to the point of being a 6A program. She was one of the hitters that was kind of just waiting in the wings behind Alana Roquette, their big middle they had last year.
Yeah.
So she was kind of just waiting for her turn, and now it's her shot, and she's only a junior. Good news for everybody else, right?
Yeah.
I thought she played really well, and but a hitter like that is what we're fixing to see with Sachs, with Laredo. So. And the kids too. They felt that they were in that match, but they also said that's the kind of competition they do want to see from the likes of Harlingen.
Well, yeah, because you have to be able to face it head on when you're there,
Yep.
and if they see it beforehand and know, okay, this is what we need to do to at least slow her down, to at least have a chance to
Right.
to score with with her there at the net and stuff. I mean, I as soon as I saw her hit the ball, in warm up, I said, okay, that's gonna be the determining factor, which which determines which way we which end we end up. But yeah, definitely, I want them to see that stuff because I
Right.
want them to know that there is a way. There
Right.
is always going to be a way, and it's like you have to change up the game.
Mhm.
We can't, we had a match way before that. I can't remember who it was that we played here, and they were real stingy, and
Saprolita?
Samperlita, and
Yeah.
I think, I think there was like one player had like 30 sets, and we had like 10 kills out of those 30 sets.
Mhm.
And and it's like when that's happening, you have to change it.
Right.
And I tell them, I'll tell them like, there's an open in the line, there's an open on that far, right hand corner,
Mhm.
where you don't have to swing, you just have to start being smart and doing something else with the ball. So
Right.
it's a kill's a kill's a kill, whether you
Yeah.
get it with a big hit or a push or a tip or a
Mhm.
roll or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, we've had kills off of a bump,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
it's just a matter of adjusting.
Absolutely. Talk to me pregame, and I know some of the kids were a little, not during the headlights, but they're like, "Woo, like this is gonna be good." When teams like Harlingen, they come in and they go through the warm ups and they're just laying down fastballs.
Mhm.
What is there a point to that? Is it just an intimidation factor, or what is that? What is the intent behind all that?
I mean, basically, it's like when a pitcher goes, to the bullpen,
Uh huh.
they're warming up.
Yeah.
They're warming up their arm. They're throwing to when they are in the game, they're prepared to throw
Right.
what they should be throwing. Well, the pregame, the warm ups, that's basically what it is. It's a warm up to start swinging to prepare when you're on the court. I've had games where there's hardly any time, and so it's
Mhm.
just like get on the court, and so it just takes longer to get into that.
Right.
You take that full swing on a
Mhm.
cold arm. It's like taking a full, you know,
Right.
pitch or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's testing that shoulder.
Right.
But I've always done my warm ups where you do your regular outside middle, and then we do, a C, or we do the other stuff that where you move the ball and have a different set. We haven't really done it very much here because there's so many, and to
Mhm.
get everybody through, and the setters in
Right.
there, setting, warming up their hands also. But I mean, I'm sure some of it is intimidation. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Especially when you have hitters like that.
Right.
But I've always told the kids, because I know we start with a toss. Like
Mhm.
everybody goes through with a toss, and I think most teams do that. I don't remember if Harlingen did it or not. And some kids tend to, when we do that, it's a perfect ball, right? So
Mhm.
if you're a good hitter, you're gonna put that ball straight down.
Right.
And so they're like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I always tell them, it's off of a perfect toss. It's not off of it's
That's
not
true.
off of a pass, from a pass to a set. That changes things.
Right.
So then they're like, "Oh yeah, kind of,
That's true. It's like soft tossing.
yeah,
And,
to a batter,
Gotcha.
yeah." So
Absolutely. The Lady Bloodhounds fell in straight sets to the Lady Cardinals on Tuesday, but there was still a lot of positives. And like I said, with their coaching staff, they fell in love with some of the girls we have here that like Sienna, Gali, Regina, and I told one of my friends who's one of the assistants, I said, watch number 9, watch her vertical, and he's a basketball coach,
Mhm.
and he goes, man, like he called me afterwards. He goes, yeah, you weren't joking. He goes, that's one of the more impressive
Yeah.
verticals I've seen.
yeah,
Period. And this is coming from out of a team who's in 32-6A.
yeah, and we've talked about it, and you see that right there, and she was like the highest one there, but
Yeah.
um, we have a hard time sometimes connecting because the set's not always gonna be the same.
Right.
And so sometimes she goes a little too early. Sometimes, she's got the hang time, and she'll get it over, but she has not connected yet. And when she does connect, it's gonna be like that
It's thunderous.
number 6,
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so I'm just waiting for that time, and we just keep working it, and she kind of knows, And I think one day, I was tossing to them, and I tossed her a lower ball, and she put that ball down. So, I told the setters, she can't have a real high set because when you have a real high set and you have somebody that jumps like that, the timing is way off. And not that she's above that set, but it's it's a visual thing with them,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to
Interesting.
explain.
Yeah. No, that's
You
that's
can hang up
interesting.
there, but the balls, it's weird.
Yeah.
I've seen it because I've had players like that
Mhm.
before, and it was like they were so frustrated, and I finally just said, let's just go with a lower ball and see what happens. And as soon as we changed that, then everything changed for her. So, but yeah, she's definitely got some hang
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. And the good thing that we've seen with this team is that they know how to respond.
Mhm.
For the most part, every time this team comes off a loss, they respond with a win. We saw it. After the Donna tournament, they came back with that win against SP.
Mhm.
Last week, we saw them come back with a win after a win after a loss in the tournament. But
Mhm.
we lose to Harlingen Tuesday, and then we bounce back against Hidalgo, a team who we had a lot of respect
Respectful,
for.
yeah, very,
Absolutely.
very.
What'd you see in that Hidalgo match? Um, I thought maybe they might have been a tougher out last year with their middles. I think they may have lost some kids to graduation.
Yeah, she told me they were young.
Mhm.
Basically about the same as us. The
Mhm.
majority of her kids are juniors.
Mhm.
But she did tell me she had a couple of freshmen, and I said, well, we're kind of in the same
Yep.
situation. But yeah, definitely, I think last year it was their middles were pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Mhm.
Her middles were pretty good this year. This season, this last match too.
Mhm.
I know they got a couple of blocks on us and stuff,
Yep.
um, but man, their back row defense. All these
Yeah.
upper valley teams, their
Yeah.
back row defense, and but a lot of it has to do, and that's what I try to tell the kids. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they have one block, and so they've got 5 people back playing, defense, down ball or back row defense, and so that makes a difference on, you know, finding an area to put that ball where you're going to score.
Mhm.
But
Al- yeah.
I thought they did a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
those balls come close to that wall over there, and they're
Mhm.
recovering those balls and
Yep.
playing it out. So
They were a lot like SP then.
SP,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, their defense, all of those teams, their defenses are they run the same thing,
Mhm.
and but they're all very. Like I told the girls, hey, these are the gritty teams that we need to take care of because if you don't do your job, you're just opening that door.
Mhm.
And so I told him that the third set maybe or something like that because um, I think there was a couple of balls that we kind of were like thought we had that point and then the
Yeah.
ball's still in the air. And but yeah, definitely I like playing those teams because I
Absolutely.
think it makes us work harder
Mhm.
to get that kill to score a point. But I think it also makes us be a little bit more aware of having to do something different.
Right, and we dropped the first set.
Yes, we dropped the first set,
So
but
that
we missed 5 serves
yeah
too. So
that first set I think it was what
26,
26
28. No,
s- um
yeah,
yeah something
26,
yes
28.
something like that, yeah, it
Yeah,
went into overtime, but
yeah.
it was certainly a very tough first set. And Regina Garza was doing the game with me, and I said this is a good little test here to see kind of how we're going to respond going into
Hmm.
the second and third set. We won that second and third set, right? Going into the fourth set, okay, now me in my brain, I really want to see how these kids are going to respond because that was the Achilles heel last year.
Hmm.
Was we would we
Yeah.
would we would get out to a lead and we
Hmm.
just could not put teams away.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job in that fourth set, being able to kind of just put things together and just kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, because I think I remember the scores being 25-21 and then 15 and 11.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, I kind of changed the lineup a little bit because obviously it was parents' night. And I changed it up a little bit, and I think things just clicked a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
with whoever. And it's different from week to week sometimes,
Yes.
you know. Um, and I just thought we played better. You know, we played a little bit better defense too. I mean, we dug up some balls like Gali and Maya.
Yeah.
Mariana went and got that ball, and then it went somewhere else, and then I think it was Maya, and then Gali is laying on the
Yeah,
floor,
and she dug it out.
laying on the floor,
Yeah.
hit it over, and we scored on it. And so,
Yes.
yeah, that was pretty impressive,
That was
because
insane.
to be on the floor, and I've seen it done before, but I think it was just they got a real kick out of that,
No,
which
no, they certainly
it
did.
was-
Yeah, and,
yeah.
and I was gonna bring up that play because Regina and I could not believe how Gali literally, like, the ball had been flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Gali's on the floor, and she just like
yeah,
dug
Yeah.
that ball up and was able to. And then the impressive part, she sends it over.
yeah.
She's still
yeah.
able to get the
Well,
ball
it
over
was
the net.
3. That was the third
Yeah.
hit, so she had to get it over. And I don't know who it was that was. They were all tangled up there. I don't know if it was Maya or I don't know, Mariana or somebody. Somebody else got that second ball. They got the ball up, on the second one, and I think everybody was turned around. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, Gali had a definitely had a great save there. You
Yeah.
know, that the 3
Yes.
that got that ball up.
That- Yeah, that dig and Bouygues pancake
Yeah, she.
was against Jubilee
Yeah,
earlier this year.
yeah. Valeria, she's one of those kids that I just call them the steady Betty.
Uh-huh.
Isn't real flashy, but always seems to come up with a play that's gonna save us or score for us.
Yep.
And I've seen it. Like I've watched her. I think I picked her up. I don't know if it was her 7th or 8th grade year, and I saw it right away. And she just really had a passion for volleyball. She just really loved volleyball. And then we kind of went a little down, and then started kind of coming up again. And I know that she kind of gets frustrated with herself, and with me, obviously, when she's not on the court. But I think she's just going to be one of those kids that is the clutch player.
Yeah.
When you really need it,
Yeah.
she's going to be the one.
Yeah, she certainly got some grit.
Yeah, she's got a lot
And
of grit.
and
She's
on-
got a lot of
yeah,
grit.
and on the court, she's one of the more fiery, emotional ones.
Yeah.
That when she's on, she's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's made a lot of big plays. In the tournament, she had a really good tournament
At
this
PI.
past weekend at
Yeah.
Fort Isabel, where you saw a
Yeah.
lot of growth.
Mhm.
I think it was the Jubilee game where I think I talked to her post game. As nervous as she was, she came on post game. I mean, she knocked that out of the park, and then
Yeah.
she's just another added piece. Just really to the depth of this team. We can go down the line.
Yeah, we
and,
can.
and talk about just how loaded this team is. The back row's starting to figure it out. Just early that defensive side is coming together.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm super proud of Sophia. And I told her, I said, hey, I know it's been frustrating. She's kind of been like in the wings. Of course, Carmina was there for for 4 years or whatever, not as libero, but playing all the way around and stuff. And it's a tough act to follow, somebody like that. But Sophia's one of those kids that she's like a duck, and the water just doesn't really just kind of runs off of her. And so things don't really phase her.
Yeah.
Like I know that she had one ball to the face.
Yes, and she kind of like just stood there. Yes.
Yeah, she didn't move. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was to the face. And I
Yeah.
said, did that hit you in the face? And she said, yeah, I'm all right. I said, okay. Her eyes were kind of watery.
Yeah.
But she just,
Yep.
she's tough.
Mm-hmm.
She really is tough. And I told her mom, I said, I'm super, on at Parents' Day, I told her mom, I said, I'm really proud of her. She has really, really come around, and she's really, she had to bide her time. And I tell them sometimes it's not till your senior year, and here we are, and she's really proven herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think,
Yeah, that was against Harlingen, that play. I
Yeah,
remember. I mean,
yeah.
that was a
She took it right in the
line
face.
drive,
Yeah,
and she still got that ball up and
Yeah.
back over. I mean, that was very impressive.
yeah,
So the Lady Bloodhounds wrapped up their 2 games this week against Harlingen, and most recently on Saturday with a win in 4 sets against the Hidalgo Lady Pirates. And again, a special shout out to the seniors. It was Senior Day, and it was also Parents' Day, so a special shout out to all the parents. I brought a great environment on Saturday.
Yes.
Here in the students.
Yes,
Center.
it was. It was.
So,
It totally changes the
It does.
from the dome to the student center.
There's so many pros and cons.
Yeah, there is.
Some of the kids are, like they, Kevin, the student center has no aura,
Yeah.
but we're fresh. We have AC, but then we go to the dome. It's got all the aura, but there's no AC.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're
Yeah.
we're getting accustomed to starting to play in the student center.
Yeah, I think a couple of parents asked me, like, I said, so we're not going to play in the dome anymore? And I said, as per admin and Coach Tino, no. And it's a safety factor, and
For
it's
sure.
completely understandable,
For sure.
And I know one of them said, can we at least play our last district match in there? And I said, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be October, so maybe.
We might get lucky.
Yeah, we might get lucky.
I know one thing I've noticed too, and Annette and Regina, they've done a tremendous job hopping on and being a color analyst in the volleyball matches, because they bring so much insight, and with their brains, and Regina and Annette, they'll break down the game where no, her elbow did this and her hand needs to go down and not up. I mean, they break down the game to the T far better than I can, right? So we're in here in the student center. I'm starting to notice that there's the fans, the
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
We saw a ball go off the lights.
Yeah.
Those are things that don't happen in the dome.
No.
That these kids are now having to adjust to, having to play with their surroundings.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing, because there's going to be times when we are in
Favor
gyms
of
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously we're going to be used to it. Our guests aren't.
Right.
Just like the heat and not the heat,
Right.
the heat or the cool. But, I mean, there are gyms that are, about the same height, and they do have the beams or whatever,
Right.
the lights or whatever. So I'm okay with them having to, practice and play in these situations.
Right.
It just makes it makes them a better, what's the word? Prepared,
Prepared. Yeah.
better
for sure.
prepared.
Absolutely. That's Coach O. I'm Kevin. We're going to take our first time out. When we come back, we're going to break down the Los Fresnos matchup, and then the Ready or Not district starts on Saturday at San Antonio Christian. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. This is Coffee with Coach O.
Ready to drive with confidence? Arroyo Driving School helps teens and adults become safe, skilled drivers. Our certified instructors teach the latest techniques to ensure you're prepared for any road. With quality vehicles and hands-on training, we give you the skills to drive responsibly. Get started today.
This summer, it's time for mimosas and brunch with the girls. A beachside lunch with the kiddos. Delicious Bayside burgers. And world-famous fried shrimp with a cold one. South Padre Island has your breakfast, lunch, and dinner plans covered. Book your summer getaway today. Visit SoPadre.com.
Ready to drive?
Welcome back to Coffee with Coach O on a Monday morning. We are live in the Student Center. Again, it's an asynchronous day, so we decided to move the show for at least today into the Student Center. And again, the freshman girls are right behind us. They're having a practice. So pretty cool little change up here. We didn't get plucked by a volleyball.
No.
But don't worry, I've been having my reflexes have been on this entire time, but I think we're good. But a shout out to our sub varsity teams here behind us working hard. I know the varsity is going to get going here in a few minutes, Coach. So real quickly on our last segment here, we got Los Fresnos tomorrow, and then we have San Antonio Christian on Saturday. Just talk about just another big week for these girls.
Definitely, with Los Fresnos, like I said, I haven't seen them play either. I know they're going to be tough. It'll be like facing, I think, Harlingen. Maybe their girls aren't quite as big. Harlingen had, I was
height,
like,
yeah.
where did they come from? Because I don't remember them last year. But, Los Fresnos is always tough. They've had a good, solid program for a while. And I know she's got a couple of girls. She's got Emily Cargill, who's a lefty, plays right side. She's got, I don't know who the middle is. I know she's got Natalie Lozano, as an outside hitter. But I don't know. I think we could match up pretty well. I think we could. It's just going to be, really these matches are whoever makes the least errors is going to probably be the, the come out on top. Because I think at the end of the day, we can pretty much match up, so.
And I think the biggest thing for us is we need to use our big game experience and not be intimidated going into a place like Los Fresnos. We've already been to the Harlingens. Cypress Christian was a rowdy crowd last year in the playoffs. These girls have already been in these big games. They've had that 6A experience. And I mean, hey, who knows? Why not go out and steal a set?
Yeah.
I think if these girls can go out, steal a set in that first set, I think
That'll
it could
set the tempo, yeah.
That'll set the tempo. Because last year, I felt that if we'd have won that Harlingen first set, who knows what happens the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that these kids are fully capable of doing it. They've shown more than flashes.
Yeah.
They're showing more consistency on being able to play it. And you're gonna get a match here or there where it's just he's kind of laid an egg and the other team's just coming out firing. It happens.
Yeah.
But we're seeing more consistent play from these girls, and we're seeing less fear. We're
Yeah,
seeing less fear.
definitely.
We're seeing more of a dog in these girls.
Yeah.
The competitive nature that the Sienas, the Galis, the Skies bring to the world. They're really bringing out that competitiveness, and those things can be contagious in
Yes.
the team.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen it. Like I've seen it with a lot of them. I mean, I've seen it with the girls you mentioned. Valeria.
Valeria, yep.
Olivia, Ahina.
Yep.
Melly.
Yep.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. Regina Garza was talking about Olivia Wood, and she goes, "Kevin, do you think there's any pressure with Olivia?" I said, "No, zero. She's a state champion in throwing. She's been to the state meet. She's been in basketball playoff games. She's been in volleyball playoff games. Like zero pressure for girls like Olivia Wood. She's a senior. It's kind of a been there, done that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And win or lose tomorrow, I think the important thing is to, one, get out healthy, and two, keep this momentum going into what is really important on Saturday. And that's the district opener at Saxon. And in a place that hasn't been too kind to us the last few years.
And I've kind of heard a little, Sax first, Sax first. Well, it's always either Sax or Victoria.
Right.
So, but I think we need to just walk into the gym and I used to tell them all the time. I haven't said it to this team this year, but I used to tell them, same game, same girl, different color jersey.
Yeah.
And that's the way they need to go into games. They can't go into games like, oh my God, like, oh, it's Sax, or oh my God, look, that 6'5" girl, or you just psych yourself up, and the mental stuff can take over everything.
Right.
So I think, and there are a couple that do sometimes get kind of mental, and it kind of surprises me, but It's nerves, you know.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I really don't think that's in this team's DNA.
No,
I
it's
don't think anymore.
no,
I don't think they're gonna go in with that, timid,
no,
that
no,
we're at, they,
no. I don't think so.
yeah,
They don't like sacks,
yeah,
and they'll say,
hmm
"Oh, I hate this gym" or whatever.
yeah.
And I'm like, I do too. But
Just the
you
bad
you,
juju.
you gotta
Yeah,
face it. You
yeah,
gotta face it head on.
for
You have
sure,
to face it head on.
for
We've
sure.
been there. The last 2 years where we should have won.
Hmm.
5 sets both years.
Yeah, yeah.
2
We're right
years
there.
ago.
Yeah,
When
right there. Yeah,
Sienna when they were freshmen,
yeah. Yep.
and then last year, when we were there, and last year was different. I usually don't blame officials
Yeah.
for
No,
losses, but last year was a little bit,
it was questionable.
it was very, very questionable,
For sure.
very
For sure.
questionable. And
For sure.
the comments after the game, as he's walking by me, and saying stuff, and I'm going like, uncalled for. And that's when I really thought, that really was biased.
Hmm.
And it's tough. It's tough to
Mhm.
swallow that,
Yeah.
because I know we won. We won
sure.
last year,
For sure.
you know.
See
So
that's when I learned that in volleyball you can get a yellow card.
yeah.
Because Carmina got one, and
Oh,
at
yeah.
that point, I'm obviously we want these kids to be classy,
Assertive, aggressive, but still respectful.
yeah. But at some point though,
Yeah.
these kids could only take so much where everything is just going against the grain, and then now
Mhm.
you know that the officials just question
Mhm.
one. These kids can only take so much, and the way I felt, if I were a coach and if I was in that situation when I saw Carmina do that,
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? You're fighting for your team.
Yeah.
You're fighting for your coach, and you're gonna let them know, like, hey, man, like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? You're gonna come out. I mean, that was just the leadership that Carmina
Yeah,
brought.
yeah.
You know.
And I didn't. I saw the situation. I saw it happen, but of course I was, pretty far away. And then I finally said, "What did you say?" And she told me, and I was just like,
Oh, Carmina.
"Okay,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
You know,
You're right.
yeah.
And I understood at that moment when you're pushed that far and you face, this, and this. Yeah, I mean, it does get heat. It's like you say, in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
During a
sure.
game.
For sure.
And I wasn't upset with her. I was upset with the situation
Right.
and what it caused.
Right.
And what it cost us.
Mhm.
So but yeah, and unfortunately we're gonna face stuff like that.
For sure. Along the way.
And
absolutely.
I did contact TAPS. I did contact the official association and stuff. And of course, there's nothing that can be
Yeah,
done about it.
just
But
for sure.
I want them to know, this is you're not hurting me.
Yeah.
And a lot of officials were, I hate that. They don't like me. Fine. I'm not here for you to like me.
Mhm.
Just don't treat my team bad because
Right.
you don't like me.
Right.
So but we just don't know.
Yep.
I don't know who the officials are, and I know they're supposed to say, oh, like in football, both coaches have to agree. Well, that doesn't work with volleyball,
Mhm.
So who will get, I don't know, but I am gonna definitely make contact with
Mhm.
the coach and
Well,
And,
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anytime we go to Saks, it's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. It's like again, there's just some kind of odd juju there, just really in all sports. So we're just looking to break the mold. Of
yeah,
that
we
side of the
definitely we can.
absolutely
We can.
absolutely.
So I get excited for them because I know that they're very capable of doing that.
Mhm.
And there's we're no longer a young team. Yeah, we're veterans now.
Mhm.
And I think that they know that, and I think if they just go out there and play with a mentality of we've got this,
Mhm.
then things will happen. But we definitely have to play some defense. We've got to put up a block. We've got to at least get a touch.
Mhm.
We had some good blocks, against Hidalgo this weekend,
Mhm. Yep.
and then we had some good touches that we were able to play up. So as long as we can, it starts with a pass.
Yeah.
And as long as we can pass the ball well, I think things are going to work out. Tomorrow with Los Fresnos, and then, with Sags, we'll come back and see where we're at and stuff. But I definitely think this team can definitely go as far as they did last year, if not, further, actually.
Absolutely, no, for sure. I'm with you. So the Lady Bloodhounds wrap up their homestand. It'll be a brief road trip down the road, down Highway 100 to take on Los Fresnos. Saturday we will be in San Antonio for the district opener, and then next Tuesday we'll be back. We'll be at Brownsville Veterans, and then that following Saturday we'll be at Laredo St. Augustine. So again, right in the teeth of this volleyball season and the schedule. Coach O, you got varsity practice coming up. Hopefully
Yes.
everything goes well and the kids get fired up
Mhm.
and good little tune-up practice before tomorrow's match against Los Fresnos. Tonight we'll be live for the freshman match at Los Fresnos United. You can catch that on the Bloodhound channel all week. Tomorrow, varsity match. Wednesday, we'll be back home here for the junior high, and then we'll pick things back up on Saturday in San Antonio. So, Coach, thanks for always coming by, and we're live here in the Student Center. We'll see you guys next week back in our traditional home in the Bloodhound Cafe every Monday at 10 a.m. This has been Coffee with Coach O. We'll see you guys next week.
Ready to drive with confidence? Arroyo Driving School helps teens and adults become safe, skilled drivers. Our certified instructors teach the latest techniques to ensure you're prepared for any road. With quality vehicles and hands-on training, we give you the skills to drive responsibly. Get started today.